I set this up to where whenever I live the stream, it meets it. Meets like that.
Helpful.
But we're testing out a new camera.
Yeah.
So
Let's do it.
let's do it. Let's test a new camera, and then if anybody's on here, they can tell us whether it looks better or looks the same or whatever.
Boom. Now everyone can see you.
Can you see me? I can see you. I can see you. Yeah. Okay, Steven.
All right.
All right. There we go. That does look pretty good.
That is look pretty sharp.
And I'll tweak it because I need to get in here and change some things because of that new webcam.
Right.
It'll get a lot better than that actually.
Sweet.
Sweet. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, cinco, seis.
Man, this is.
So now what we need to do though is check the volume levels, and then when we go back and watch this, see what, I mean, it sounds pretty loud to us because of the adjustment we can make here.
Yep.
Right.
Headphones are on 4 dots.
So making sure that whatever we have here, whatever the gains are, we can go back and, when we go back and listen to this and make sure that these settings are loud enough, and if they're not, we'll just tweak it to make sure that it's not.
Got
It
it.
is,
Gains are at 3 o'clock.
right? And so are the volumes, right?
So are the volumes, yeah.
That is pretty hot when you think about it. And you've got
Yeah.
this right in the middle, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And we have to have that phantom stuff on. Well, we had to. Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody's in chat, speak up. I'm curious. We have questions about quality for those of you who are not actually in my apartment right now.
Yep. A big part of it too. I mean, we're splitting the audio 5 ways in this thing, so I don't know what kind of decibel drop that is.
Right. Well, no, there shouldn't be. Because it's mono right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to impact it. I mean, if we went, this probably doesn't do anything to this. I'm not going to do anything to it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Because we don't have any speaker outputs, so it's all mono anyway.
So, Joe, do you want to tell anyone who might be watching right now or later who we're going to have on the show over the next
Oh yes, I've
few
already
weeks?
sent that out, but we're going to have Mario Sanchez next week.
All right.
He's the director of youth development. So he's going to be here, and he's going to discuss all of the incentives that are going on right now, all the actions they're taking to build the academy, which is a lot of people have been talking about that. So it'd be great to go straight to the source of the person that's building the foundation of it. And then the week after, we're going to have James O'Connor on.
Yeah, he's Mario's new boss, I guess.
Basically.
Vice President of Development.
I guess he falls under that tree.
And
He's the
women's soccer operation. I forget how they phrased it.
executive vice president of operations or something like
Okay.
that. And I don't know how that extends to the men's team. I don't know if it does.
Not at all.
So
That's one thing they went over, is that he's not over the men's team in any way.
Yeah. So he's going to be on, and then in February I definitely want to bring on. Gosh, now I'm going to feel like an idiot because I don't remember her name, but she's starting up a new podcast. She's from Scouse's House.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
I'm Shelly? No, I'm sorry. I feel like an idiot right now, but I want her to come on for a bit so we can plug her.
What's it called? Hot Brown Soccer Podcast?
Hot Brown Soccer Town.
Hot Brown Soccer Town.
Nice.
That makes more sense.
So she's going to be on one in February, and then also we're doing the show from Harbor House in February as well.
Man, we got a lot coming up.
Got a lot going on in February. So, and I know that we already have 24 people officially signed up for the mini and the marathon relay. We can actually send this out. I mean, once we're done, I can take this and we can download it and I'll send it out to everybody.
Cool. Harbor House is on what day? The 11th?
Harbor House is the 22nd.
Oh, I've got mine. I should win a number up.
February 22nd. It's going to be from 12 to 4.
Yep.
And they're limiting the amount of people that they can have in there. They have to. So they're going to limit it to 30 people. So we're going to have 30 people there. I guess we'll just sign them up or something.
I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna do it. I haven't had enough money to pay my entry.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the meeting.
My entry fee.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to do something that Katie was pushing too. That I forgot to push in the beginning. You don't have to do the whole mini. If you get a team of 5 people, you can split up the marathon amongst 5, and the legs go as such. The first person does about 6 miles. The second person does 3 miles. The third person does 6 miles.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth person does 3, and I think the last person does the rest, which is about 7. And you don't have to run it. Now, my fat ass walked 5.5 miles yesterday, or on Monday. So I could do the 3K, I could do the 5K walk tomorrow if we had to.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get a team of 5 people, it's the same. It doesn't reduce the amount that you pay to get in. The entrance fee is still the same. But what you do, if you've yet heard about this, we have a race ambassador, Brian McLean, who's a Louisville City supporter. And Brian has taken on the role of race ambassador for the whole thing.
Nice.
Like there's a bunch of people that he's one of the ambassadors, but he's specifically going to work with us. And he can send. He's been sending out refunds that you can get. Like the last one he sent out, you save $15 on entry.
Nice.
So right now it's like 60 something, and if you add that 15, then you get in for less than $50.
Ooh, that's an idea.
Yeah, and then like I said, you don't have to do the whole 13.3 miles. If you want to join a relay team, get a group of 5 people together. The most you're going to do is 7 point something, and you don't even have to run if you don't want to. So, I mean, there's a lot of options. The whole idea is to take the month of April, try to raise as much money as we can for Harbor House. The goal is $10,000. So, I don't know if we'll fall woefully short or not, but I hope we don't. I hope we. And there's already a link out there, and I'll show with this video when I put it out the link to how to register and how to join or donate to the team. Because if you don't want to run, just donate. You can do that too. We'll take your money.
I want to comment.
Yeah.
We look a lot thinner on this webcam. Thankfully,
I like this webcam
Thanks,
already.
webcam.
Thank you, webcam.
We have we have 3 viewers. I have no idea who they are.
Welcome.
We have a brand new webcam that Mr. Bala over here has been gracious enough to get us.
Can they? Is there a chat? Are you going to talk about the chat thing? I don't know if we can chat or not.
No, I don't have it set up yet.
Oh, okay.
So, soon, very soon, you will be able to do commands in the chat, and it's basically an exclamation point and then a word like uptime. So if you type in exclamation mark uptime, it'll tell you how long the stream has been live. Just something basic like that.
Okay.
And then we'll have some other fun stuff in there. You can maybe facts, and you can get a random fact about each of us, or
Nice.
a guest or something like that. I can set up those like pre-show.
Exclamation mark HMS Pinafore will just do the entire lyrics
Yeah.
to all the songs.
Oh, jeez.
A lot of people have secret stuff that you have to discover. So it just makes chat more fun.
That's kind of sick.
I like it.
And there's also there's a bot that you can bring in, and you can have like bidding wars, and you get points for loyalty.
Oh, that's fun.
So the more time you spend in the channel, the more coins you collect, and then you can like gamble the coins in the chat. And there's all kinds of stuff that you
is
can do.
fun.
So, yeah, so not only will people get to they'll get vast amounts of entertainment, but now they can gamble in the chat legally
Nice.
with fake money.
With fake money, so it's not really gambling, but it's kind of gambling.
I mean, but this is why I think Twitch was.
Yeah.
This was a pretty good move.
This
It's
is
a good choice. Yeah.
Now that Facebook is doing gaming, like you can stream your stuff on Facebook.
Really?
No.
After the stuff, the problems that we had now?
Yeah, but I think it's a little different, but a couple of my friends do it.
Okay.
We got to just get really big on here, get a huge following, and then Microsoft will give us like $50 million to
Yes.
come over
Yeah.
to a platform almost no one uses.
Go over and have a localized talk show on Mixer.
I think that'd be awesome.
I hope that we can even mention Mixer on Twitch, but if not, sorry, we didn't know. But there's a lot of potential on here, and I think so. The way that I've laid this out, another reason that I wanted you all to come over tonight is this counts as a day streamed. This will kick off our 30-day.
So we're
run.
you're just using this as
Okay.
what you're saying.
Well, I mean, we're all using each other.
I know.
So this counts as the first day. As we have to meet all these requirements within a 30-day period.
Okay.
Mhm.
So today would be the first day that we stream. You have to stream for 7 days within a 30-day period. So right now we've got tonight, and then we've got the 2 shows that we've got coming up, plus Harbor House.
Those are right, let's.
Wait, that's on the 22nd.
Yes,
so that's not going to count.
Right.
So what I'll do
Well, maybe we can. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Wait, within a 30-day period?
within 30 days.
Oh, it's February 22nd.
So does it
Yeah,
have to be?
alright.
Does it have to be an amount of hours?
Yes. So you got to do 7 days. You have to do. Actually, I think I have it pulled up. You have to. Okay. You have to. We've got the follower count. That's done.
Okay.
So you have to stream for a total of 8 hours within a 30-day period.
Okay. So
You
Some
have to
podcasts
do.
have gone almost that long. It feels like.
Right. Yeah. Our podcast normally we average about 3 hours. So
Yeah, the last 2 or 3 have been pretty short though. I mean, they've been like an hour and a half. An hour and a half, I think, is long enough, man. You know, we get a lot done in an hour and a half.
oh yeah,
Yeah, when we limit it to like one guest,
Mhm.
you know, an hour and a half seems to be a good. I mean, it's, you know, it's a lot of people try to keep it at an hour, but a couple of people that we've had on, we don't get everything in an hour.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I never want to limit this ball time though. I mean, just
yeah,
let
neither
it
do I.
take-
Neither do I. Neither
Let
do
it
I.
take as long as it needs
Right.
to.
Neither
yeah, I
do
have
I.
no problem with that either. But it's so yeah, so you have to stream for 8 hours total within a 30-day period. You have to stream on 7 different days, which I can cover. Like I can get on, I can just jump on here tonight and fart around a little bit. And then you have to have an average of 3 viewers, which is absolutely no problem. Right now we're at 5.
Hi everybody. We're
But-
testing.
Hi.
We didn't even plan on doing this. We're just testing a new camera.
Yeah, but right now we're at 5 average viewers, which is we haven't been live for a month, so that's one of our shows. I forget. It was the pre-championship show. We had that kickoff show
Yeah,
that
there
we
was a
did.
lot of
We
them.
hit like 40 something.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty insane.
I'm pretty sure that the next 2 shows are going to be pretty big. I would assume that if the Sanchez deal isn't big, I'm thinking that James O'Connor will be pretty, because they'll be the first time that he's done any media stuff since he left.
Yeah,
Since it showed, yeah.
You know, so
we'll promote the hell out of that.
yeah, and that's it's already. I didn't know a lot of people already shared that.
Mhm. I put up Facebook events,
Okay.
so a lot of people are hitting those.
Also, I reset the audio only version of this. I goofed up because I had 2 different accounts and I thought I was fixing the one and no one was subscribing to it. I'm like, why? Because I had Groove Machine and then I had The Groove Machine. And I was trying to feed The Groove Machine that was going into Groove Machine. So I was an idiot. That's why it wasn't working. It was totally my fault. But it's fine now.
Yep.
Because I just deleted the other one and it's fine. So all of this, the next, this airs on Thursday night. Friday we usually try. We don't even need to do the video part anymore because you can just go to Twitch and just post a link and you can watch the show. And then also the audio version usually up by Saturday morning, which is a good time for it because usually it's before a game.
Mm-hmm.
So you can listen to it before a game. There's something else I forgot to mention, and I forget what it was. Oh, we did 2 things while Link, what
Are you seeing this?
Yep.
we sell it.
Were you just licking up ketchup? I mean,
It's honey mustard, dude.
okay.
Easy there.
He's lapping it up like a cat. All right.
Believe me, I have no room whatsoever to judge. I just think it's funny.
It was funny for a minute. Stop.
I got some on my nose.
That's what happens, yes.
There's also something on your chin you might want to check out.
In case there were 2 things it
It's
did do.
smooched all over my
Yesterday,
nose.
If I find out you wiped your hands off on my couch.
Ooh.
I did not.
All right, quiet.
So yesterday,
Sorry, Tim.
that's okay. Yesterday, myself, or was it 2 days ago? Myself and Glenn went down to Do Love Live. Am I saying that correctly?
Yep.
And where it's going to be right now, it's just an empty
Mhm.
place. And
Right.
they blew it up and
They're renovating like an old warehouse or
warehouse
something?
type of place. Yeah, you can see there's like truck entrances and stuff. And that's where we're going to be starting. That's one of the proposed start sites for the march. Now, the reason they
Good.
proposed it is because they are very willing to work with the Coopers and all the other supporter groups that they want in on doing all kinds of events and all kinds of stuff. Like they're talking about letting us store drums there. They're talking about all kinds of events. There's some pluses.
Becoming one with the community.
Right, right. But the thing is, it's a community. There are some issues that are going to have to be dealt with. Number one is it's in the middle of, it's residential, and there are houses, old houses right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And there are old people that live in those old houses.
Nice.
So, the idea of, hey man, let's start off a cannon blast to get everything going, that's not going to work.
Maybe they'll move out and I can get the fabled Butchertown apartment that I always wanted.
Well, there you go.
I
because-
mean, you never know. They might be like a hardcore libertarian and have a cannon.
Yes, they may have, they may even own a cannon. But some of them look like they were there around during World War One, so they may own a
Even
Gatling
better.
gun or something.
These damn soccer people coming in here. This is my Butchertown.
I don't know about these people.
We brought beer.
we have beer, sir. I don't know about that.
Yeah, beer messes with my glaucoma. I can't.
Sonny, come over here closer so I can see you, so I can aim at you better.
This is getting dark very quickly.
So that's something we'll have to attend to.
Yep.
Now the idea is that we're going to start the march. If we start the march, and once again, there's nothing's written in stone here. There could be 20 different ideas. But if we started the march there, we could pass by Copper and King. and hopefully work with them to pick up people who are hanging out there and have them join. And then eventually you start passing by, you could possibly pass by a couple places if it was a different idea where there's going to be bars eventually. Right now there's 2 or 3 places, like the old Butchertown Pizza. Somebody apparently has purchased that.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're going to be putting in another restaurant or another possible.
I heard it was going to be another pizza place.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're talking about another bar that people may be hanging out at before games. If there's a way to work a route out where we pass them, or if people start there, we coordinate a start time at 2 or 3 different places, and hook up, and then you pass around what's not going to be much of a parking lot. There's really not going to be a very big parking lot. And possibly pass through. The entire route, if we did it from there, is 0.4 miles.
That's not bad.
0.4 miles is a little bit more than when we used to do it from Trollpo.
Yeah.
So it's not that far. And 0.4 miles, that's 10 minutes. You know, you do the whole, it's like walking 10 minutes, whatever. So it's not that far.
It's not a big deal, and
No.
unless you're carrying a bass drum.
If you're carrying a bass drum down the hall, no, people can join in, people can share them, there's all ways we can get around having to carry a drum the whole time.
Matt can use purple hover rounds.
You can do that?
That would be cool. No, I'm probably already going to be in the stadium drinking free every night.
Okay.
That's
Because I paid that kind of money for my seat, but damn it, I have it for a lifetime, because I'll always have it,
So there's going to be,
and I'm going to take that free booze.
there you go. What seat did you get?
You know
When I say-
the row of seats that's between John Neese's box and the bench?
Yeah, you got
I'm
one
in
of those?
there, yeah.
But you're going to come over and play?
Yes, I am.
Wow. Now, I got to ask you a question. If you come over and play, you spend a lot of money on a seat that you might not be spending a lot of time in.
I know. I will
I hate to
spend.
put you on a spot like that.
No, not at all. I will spend time in those seats some games, and I haven't.
See,
I will always have that seat.
I was always
Whereas
playing-
if I waited a couple of years, I might never get it.
I understand, and that's the kind of seat that I want to get for the NWSL and US when we get the League 2 team going. I want those seats
Oh yeah.
because I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know that Amanda Duffy is no longer the president of NWSL.
She's going to Orlando.
She went to Orlando, which means NWSL is conducting their draft, I think, today or tomorrow without a president.
I think it was today.
Was it today?
I thought I saw somewhere they're phasing out the role of president.
Oh,
And there's going
I
to be
wonder-
like some kind of executive director or something.
Executive director of the NWSL.
Something like that.
Okay.
That may be as a result of her move, that may be what precipitated her move. I don't know.
I don't know about you guys. I'm worried. I'm a little worried
About NWSL?
about NWSL.
I've been kind of worried about it since the get-go.
And I hate to, I hate to be, some people don't like to talk about negatives. I mean, they make it sound like you're trying to, I don't want it to die. It's the last thing I want to do. But if
I want a women's pro team here.
Absolutely.
But,
Yes.
man, you need to look up, if you haven't Googled stuff on NWSL, there's some bad stuff going on.
it's concern because they asked the United States Soccer Federation about 8 weeks ago, they asked them for I want to say it was $47 million over 9 years.
Right.
And when you work out the amount of their personnel on the field, your minimum contract is up now. They've raised the minimum contract. The max contract I think is $400,000.
Yeah.
But if you work out the price, if you look at $47 million, which worked out to roughly $5 million a year, a little more than $5 million a year, and then you look at the price of your on-field talent and your trainers, it comes out for each team to equal about $5 million a year. So it sounds like they went to USSF and said, hey, can you give us money to function for the next 9 years? That's what it sounds like to me. I'm sorry. If I'm missing something, I'm missing something. And I'm totally open for me being wrong here. But that's what it sounds like to me, that they asked USSF to carry them for 9 years on the field. You don't ask a federation, first of all, you don't ask anybody for money ever for nothing. You never ask a federation or ownership because then they own you. The second I ask you for money, you got something on me. I'd rather you want something from me. You know, if I'm a team and the league turns around and says, look, you know, we're doing this and that and the other thing, and the teams are doing really well. We want to build a fund for whatever, right? We need you to kick in a couple million.
Yeah.
You want that way. Now they're beholden to you for something. You don't want to ask the federation for $47 million over 9 years.
I think
I don't know. I can't speak to it.
I was
don't
looking
know
at
enough
it.
about it.
Yeah, neither do I. But it's still. Look, you asked the federation for $47 million, and that's a lot of money. Man.
I mean, I was looking at attendance, and it's
A couple of them are pretty good.
it's across the board.
Yeah.
So you've got, I think the lowest attendance in the league is like
Sky Blue.
2,000 something, and that's Sky Blue. Then you look at Portland and you're like, man, you talk about like a club that could sustain for the foreseeable future.
Them and Utah are probably carrying the whole thing.
They kill it.
Yeah, they're over 10,000 both of them. And I know Orlando was fairly close.
We're probably going to be close to that, if not more.
I don't know. I hope.
Because there's a lot of soccer in the region in men's. In women's, I'm going to go up to Chicago. That's the closest one.
And then when I looked, the last time I looked at it, there was like 3 or 4 teams that averaged around 5,000, 4,000.
I mean, Louisville's more accessible than nobody wants to go up to Chicago because honestly, Chicago, it sucks driving up there.
It sucks driving up there. And I think they play in that damn stadium too. Don't they play at Toyota?
Yeah.
That place is the worst.
But it's, I'm not trying to trash. I love Chicago. I'm up there a lot.
Oh, the city's wonderful.
Nobody
I love the
wants to drive
city of
up there
Chicago.
to do anything.
But nobody wants to go drive in the middle. They built that with the mentality. You got to remember, Gardner was the guy that was running. Still is. And that was the time. They were just after the time in the 90s. Like, you're about 10 years removed from the whole movement of teams moving out of cities into parks outside of the county or in the county in the middle of nowhere. That's where the Giants built Giants Stadium. It wasn't in New York. They moved to New Jersey. They moved into East Rutherford in the 70s. And then they rebuilt it again to NetLife and then, about 15 years ago. But it's nowhere. It's not in the middle of anything.
Right.
And there's a bunch of football teams that have done that. And I think they carried that same idea, assuming that it would work. It definitely did not work.
No.
And then you got the investor operator that runs that thing who's literally fighting with the supporter groups, and he's trying to take them over. I mean, what is going on up there?
That team's in free fall. I mean, Chicago Fire, they're falling apart.
Have you seen any time someone from the FO or their social media manager, anybody, post something? It's immediate, just flamed, boom, immediately.
Well,
they get Chicago fired.
Zero love. And then they had the logo. Boy, we won't get into this, but their rebranding is about as bad as it gets.
It's pretty bad.
Chicago's rebranding was the most. I've never seen anything that had nothing to do with the city in my life like that.
Yeah. Well, it's
got 3 flames coming up and 3 going down. Just replace the 3 going down with a dumpster, and it's perfect.
Perfect, yeah, because it's a dumpster
completely
fire.
on brand at that point.
Well, they just brought in, I forget his name.
It doesn't matter.
I think they brought him in as an assistant.
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up, but it's basically the best move from what I was reading. One of the best moves that they've made, apart from everything else. But like every other comment was like, "Well, this is a lot better than that logo you guys came up with. When do we get the old logo back?" Like that's all the comments.
Yeah.
And
they had one of the better logos in MLS, so of course they had to scrap it for garbage clip art.
was it Clopas?
I don't know. All I know is that I probably did read it, but then after I looked at it, I was traumatized. So I forgot the name of everything.
Frank Clopas.
I would have. I mean, being a supporter, look, we had whatever going on. I'm not even. I don't know, whatever. You guys want to talk about it?
New head coach, Chicago Fire, Raphael Wicki.
Right. Rebranding, new coach, new whatever.
And Frank Clopas.
Okay.
So that he's the assistant, but
Now, it's also, somebody made a comment. I made a comment recently about how having Hackworth, O'Connor, and Sanchez, that stacks up with any team in the league in MLS.
Yeah.
I didn't say that they were more talented. I didn't say we were as good. All I said was that talent in their position stacks up with the talent in the other positions of MLS teams.
Yeah.
Of course they're more mature
Easily.
organizations because they've been around 20 years longer. I mean, no,
We're starting our 6th year.
this is our 6th year, and we don't even have any. We're literally building an academy. But if you're looking at a guy like, first of all, Sanchez, he is respected around the country. Anytime you look at what he's done, he is respected countrywide. And Hackworth was an MLS coach in Philadelphia, and the reason that team struggled had nothing to do with him. Go listen to their fans. Go look at their fans, and go listen. They didn't spend any money. I mean, when you have no talent, you can only do so much. And they were, but you go back and the guys that I got to know that support Union, that were also Bethlehem Steel fans, they were like, yeah, well, he had his issues, but we weren't really mad at him. It's just they had no money.
It's kind of like O'Connor at Orlando. He had nothing to work with.
Right. Oh, and that's another one. I mean, O'Connor getting thrown out after 1 year is the stupidest thing.
it's going to be a while before they.
Oh, I hope they implode.
Orlando's going
I hope
really
Orlando's
bad
a
for
bag
while.
of dog crap.
How do you attract anybody to that job?
I know there's people that are.
After the way they treated one of their own.
Hey, how do you all feel about? Have you noticed that Cincinnati's plucking people from like J League and stuff?
I think
I try not to.
I saw that they were trying to pull a couple players from Uruguay. Is that true?
Yeah,
Well,
They-
good for them.
I think they pulled a Japanese kid that I think they signed him as a DP, like a designated player.
Okay.
Mhm.
But from what I understand, he's really good.
Okay.
I don't think that they're going to have much size, but
Well, look, they got to do something after last year. They have to do
oh
something.
yeah, they
Because
got
that was the
yeah.
most insane. And the thing is, I don't think they're making a ton of moves. And also talking about, I don't know if you guys saw, where MLS is actually looking to reduce the age of their designated players.
That's not bad.
It's not, but here's the problem with it. And I agree, it's not, because that'll keep you from signing the 37-year-old from England.
Right.
Because I'm tired of that. I get it. I get it that you want people to come to the game so you could assign. But they've had bad experiences with the last 3 players that they've brought over here. That were
Well, yeah,
good names.
Ibra came over here
Ibra
and
just
shit all over the league.
he just took a big ass dump on the whole league. Rooney, I don't know if you guys remember when Rooney, they made him take charter from Seattle to Washington after a late game, and he had to be in the town like the next day or something. And they made him charter. They didn't even give him a first class seat. You're not going to give Wayne
Oh, you
Rooney
mean
a
coach?
first. Yeah, I'm sorry,
Oh,
coach.
okay.
I'm sorry. I apologize, coach. They made him fly coach on an airplane. They wouldn't give Wayne Rooney a first class seat.
And when he wanted out, he just went to straight up bad boy attitude.
Yeah, he was just like, screw this.
Yeah,
The
he's
the man wore number 10 for the English national team.
Exactly.
What the hell?
Give the guy. I mean, and on top of that, he actually played pretty well for him apparently up to that point.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And Father's like, screw this, screw you all. So I can get them not wanting to bring in the old players anymore because the league is so ridiculously bad at that kind of thing. So bring in younger players. Here's the problem: you bring in younger players from where? You're not going to get them from England. You're not going to get them from France. You're not going to get them from.
You can't get them from Mexico because if you look at some of the contracts for bench players in Mexico, they make more money than people in MLS.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of people that you can poach players from anymore. A lot of MLS teams go to South America because there's a lot of like Argentinians in the league. There's a lot of guys from Brazil. Like South America is good, but again, you get old guys. There's a couple of teams. Columbus they've went nuts.
Okay.
Okay.
They've went absolutely crazy. Like Columbus is going to be intimidating next year. But they brought in a guy from Mexico and paid him a lot of money. I forget his name right now, but I'm still like on all of their social media, so I see everything they do. They're getting a new stadium up there too,
Yes, they are good.
and it
Columbus
is
is?
sick. Yeah, it is sick.
Want to talk about second? I'm going to take a sidetrack with this. We're talking about Cincinnati, the soccer team,
Mhm.
the Bengals. I know this has nothing to do with soccer, but follow me when I get to the end of this. It's going to take a couple minutes. The Bengals are notorious now for being the lowest spending team in the league. They spend no money. Brown is a complete tightwad because Brown. Now follow what I'm saying. Brown makes his living off of the Bengals. He's like one of the only owners that didn't have a massive business, or was it willed to him with a ton of money like Mara. Wellington Mara, he passed away. He was a Giants owner forever, and now his son Tim, and then there's another guy Tish. They co-own, but they have an insane amount of money. So, but Brown is definitely the lowest spending player. Now, in 5 or 6 years, Cincinnati's lease is up. The Bengals' lease is up, and the Hamilton County, Howard County, it starts with an H. They've already said, we're not giving you a friggin' penny. We're not giving you don't even ask. So there's a very good possibility 5, 6 years from now, there is no Bengals.
Oh,
At the
Okay.
least, they're getting sold.
Right, at the least, Brown will have to sell the team because there's no way he's going to be able to hold on to it. And if he actually has to put his own tens of millions into the stadium to keep, he's not going to do it. He's just not going to.
No.
He doesn't have it. So now rotate this back to MLS. These owners are not making the amount of money that everyone thinks they're making. They're
Oh,
just not. There's no way. There's no way they're making the amount
Well,
of money.
their biggest sum of income has got to be expansion fees, right?
Expansion fees.
That's where the money
basically-
comes from.
And you might get a little bit of a trickle from the National League team stuff, but even that's going up. I'm jumping ahead of myself. But yes, the seed money is the only thing that they're really making any money on. And then they have to distribute that. The more teams, the less you get. Right? I mean,
Well, that's why it keeps
that's why
spiking up.
Ponzi schemes are a joke.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when there were 28 teams and somebody forked over 200, I don't remember, it was 200 million.
Yeah.
When there's 32 teams and somebody forks over 350 million, you're making the same amount of money.
right.
Right.
So now you've got owners that are focused on, and it's going to get back to what you were talking about. The owners are now focused on doing whatever they have to do to make money. They don't care about the league. They've allowed themselves, it's already done. This is going to be a minor league. MLS is going to be a minor league for the rest of the world. They've already, that's it.
Yeah.
There's
That's
no
kind of how it's
discussion.
looked at anyway.
Because they're more interested in making money than having quality. The only way you have quality is if you spend money.
Yeah.
You have to spend. These owners, 90% of these owners in the top 6 leagues, they lose money. They don't make money on their
Yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
You know, you might have like the Man U's, the Liverpools, whatever. But you know, Norwich City isn't making any. That owner's not making any cash. You know, the owners, the bottom 12 teams in Italy are probably going broke just to have teams. How is this going to work? People go off on MLS and, well, you know, this is where the future. I don't know if there's going to be an MLS in 15 years if they don't do something drastically different.
Because how many more groups are left to fork over hundreds of millions of dollars?
And it's going to get more. And you want to talk
when it
about,
gets to $500 million, who's really going to pay that league $500 million for the privilege of watching it collapse?
right? And then it's criminally overpriced.
Oh,
There's something going on with these teams. These teams are criminally overpriced.
Yeah.
So something's going on behind the scenes to keep this. That's probably the some thing, and that circles back into the national team.
Mm-hmm.
They're already struggling as far as ticket sales. The last 2 or 3 games, you know, people didn't show up. You know, the places were empty, so they're not making the money of the national team that they were 8 years ago. The men's team,
Right.
Yeah. Because they're bad and the prices are too high.
right? The women's team in 4 to 8 years is going to have the same problems the men's team is going to be having. They're not going to just walk into a stadium and win 6-0. They're playing in the She Believes Cup, and Spain was just invited to it. I'll put $50 down on it right now. I'll tell you right, Spain's going to wipe them off the field.
I think Spain will win that.
Spain is going to be they're going to be the next dominant force in this thing for a generation. When I mean a generation, not a soccer generation in 10 years, I mean like a living generation, because they've set the infrastructure up, and these kids are playing. They play a style of soccer that makes what we do ridiculous. We basically look like a bunch of linebackers out there compared to what they do.
Right.
I thought that doesn't mean I'm not saying they're bad.
Right.
I'm not pleased. I don't
Yeah.
want to say that. I'm not saying that the women's team's bad. Far from it. They're fantastic. But the level of creativity and artistry that Spain shows, we don't even touch it. We don't even come close. So I don't know, man. Every sport it waxes and wanes. The popularity goes up, goes down. Football's on this huge upturn right now. NFL's on this massive upturn. The last 2 years, their viewership is through the roof. I was just watching it yesterday.
Yeah.
The NBA has lost 19% viewership. They just talked about this yesterday on one of the sports shows. 19% down.
Mm-hmm.
So their popularity is starting to wane in the States. Someday, soccer popularity is going to wane.
Mhm.
With no infrastructure that makes any sense, what happens?
We
Sorry,
shall see.
I'm not trying to be a contrarian. I'm not trying to say this. But if you think forward 10, 20, none of it, we don't think about it because we don't want it to happen. But 10, 20 years from now, the infrastructure of this entire deal, it's not guaranteed. And it goes back to the women's team we're talking about. Same thing with the NWSL. I don't know how they're going to keep this thing afloat. I just don't. Even if they add 6 more teams that draw 7,000 people average, it's not a ton of money when you have to travel 3,000 miles to play a game.
My theory was when USL stepped in and they were like, oh, we're going to have women's league too. So that the way that they could make that work is, you know, you can opt in as a USL franchise and you can have a women's team. And this is how I would do it. I don't know what they're doing, but every USL franchise would have the opportunity to have a women's team, and it would be tacked on to the league, and you would accommodate both teams with the travel schedule, so they all travel at the same time.
Which makes total sense.
And because it's the United States, I mean, this place is huge. It's why a lot of these, you know, these internationals that come over here, like, they don't want to, they hate, like, oh, what do you mean? We're in New York City and we got to fly to California and play against San Francisco.
Right.
Like, they
With
hate
no
that.
money. It's not like they have any money. Sky Blue has no money.
4 time zones. But I think that they should, that would be a great way to do it, just to save, because that's your travel expenses are the biggest thing in these leagues, and it's like.
Insurance. Because the more
Yeah.
you travel, the more you pay in insurance.
Yeah.
And insurance kills these teams. It kills everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the insurance alone, travel costs are ridiculous. And then if you're a professional sports team, like they did with Rooney, you don't want them traveling coach on a friggin' airplane, because you have to, if you want to create something that has some vibe, if you want something that has some shine to it, you don't put your players in coach.
No, especially Rooney.
You know, I mean, you just don't do that. But if you're to the point where you're trying to pinch pennies with Wayne Rooney in coach on an airplane, you got problems.
Yeah.
And folks, that's DC United. You know, I'm not talking about like a Columbus who's struggling for a little while, drawing people, or Red Bulls who can't get anybody in the freaking building anymore.
Yeah.
This was a team that was drawn pretty well last year. They got a new stadium. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. I'm
when
worried.
that influx of new teams coming in finally drives up, the league's gonna, if they don't change something, they'll be insolvent in 5 years.
Yeah, there's
Because their model doesn't work.
it doesn't. Everything. I'm worried. I'm not, and I'm afraid to say that sometimes because all the wokey out there. If you talk about NWSL in any negative fashion, what, you don't like women? That's not,
Somebody's got to say it.
somebody's got to say it.
It's, you know, we're not
You
there.
have to talk about this stuff.
They're better than the men. It's just the NWSL is in a very precarious position right now.
Yeah, and adding 3 teams over the next 5 years, maybe that works. I don't know. And then
I
you
think
have,
it can.
yeah, I hope it does. I hope there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Whether it does or it doesn't, I think it's the right play. I mean, what else do you do?
Nothing. You can't get smaller.
No.
Getting small. I mean, you can't have like a 16 league all over the country.
You gotta have that attendance, man.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is if you can get
Yep.
20 teams, you can get to 20 teams and make it regional. You might be able to save some money, and you might be able to get a little more interest because you can build, you build local rivalries like we had with Cincinnati.
What's it with the teams that they have in that league?
Right.
There's 3 on the West Coast, and then the furthest west coming from the East Coast after that is Chicago.
Yeah, man.
So you can't even do a West. You can't do a West, Central, and East. You can't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, because they run full table, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they play 27 games.
Like Sky Blue plays the
27.
Rain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They
So that's
play
crazy.
each other 3 times. I think they play
That's
27
crazy.
plus the playoffs.
That's what, 3,000 miles?
Yeah, it's 3,000 mile flight to Seattle, Portland.
Man,
You're 20-something hundred to Salt Lake City.
I'd be pulling my hair out if
Yeah.
I was an owner.
I,
Do they make airplanes with solar panels?
well, now they Sky Blue is going to be playing a couple of games at Red Bull Arena this year, and the Red Bulls are basically they're putting the money. They're letting them play in the stadium.
Stacking them.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. That'll help them out a little bit. I've always been really critical of Red Bulls because, and a lot of MLS teams who don't have women's teams and don't do anything specific for women. If you're going to talk about being diverse and this and that and the other thing, and you don't want to put a women's team out, you're not that diverse.
Mhm.
You know, you're just so bottom line oriented. It just, but I don't, man. If they don't fit, like I said, I'm sorry to get wound up about Amanda leaving, but you okay there, Link?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
It's not anything.
We have a falling kid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's turn into a show.
It did. I think we accidentally podcasted.
And actually, and I can actually.
We've been live for 40 minutes.
I was gonna say,
All right.
we can upload it.
Yep.
I'll take that. We'll upload that when we're done. But so I'll release this once again. We have Mario Sanchez next week. We have James O'Connor the week after. We're going to be bringing on the host of Hot Brown Soccer Town eventually. We also have the show on the 22nd. It's a special show. We have other things planned. We do want to do a remote before the season starts, someplace close to the stadium. I think.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
And I think we also,
We can go into the stadium and do it with hard hats.
that'd be sweet.
I guess pretty soon you won't need hard hat.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
it comes to a point where they're building out seats. And that's the other, hey, can I put my own seat in the stadium?
No.
No.
Hey, you want to pay for the
Quit it.
insurance? People.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like a running gag.
Can
So,
I have my own seat in the stadium?
Joe, did you notice how big that freaking beer garden screen
Oh, it's
is?
huge.
Oh, that's gonna be
It's
great for
huge.
parties.
Oh, that's one thing. Did you notice, and I tweeted about this, that field, the little mini field that they're
Futsal
putting out
court?
front, it's
Right.
a box field.
Is it really?
It's so, I drove by
That's
and I'm
probably a
like-
good idea.
I
yeah.
drove by and I'm like, oh, it's a box field.
That's kind of cool.
Recessed goals into the walls.
Mhm.
They did the same thing up in Michigan, and it's amazing up by Lansing, and it's absolutely amazing.
Do
Like,
they
I-
pad those walls or
No,
no?
Wow.
you can't get up to. I mean, you can get up.
You can't get up to, that's what I'm
speed.
saying. Yeah, and
But-
okay, so it's you have to have a pretty good head of steam to.
Yeah, oh,
It's
yeah.
about the size of a basketball court, really.
Ah, okay.
Maybe a little bigger, but
All right.
And I can't. I think like pregame, what all the kids that are going to be in there is just that's worth it. Bam, like we're like that's awesome. I drove by the other day and I was like, that's freaking awesome.
What
and it's
is
outside the gate, so you're gonna be able to use it whenever.
Yeah.
They're gonna have 2 huge bars, man. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the one under the sign is amazing.
Oh.
But the beer garden one's gonna be pretty freaking cool too. And
Yeah.
they're talking about doing viewing parties up there, so that should be a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Hi, Kathy. By the way.
Hi, Kathy. So,
Hi, Kathy.
So once again,
Yep.
Mario Sanchez next week, James O'Connor the week after. Special show on the 22nd, Saturday, 12 to 4. Beyond all the regular stuff
Yep.
we're doing.
And maybe it's like just some new features we talked about adding, like a look at how the barrel drums are actually put together.
Yes.
For example, like some kind of inside baseball for what the capos do, what the drummers do, that kind of
That'd be
thing.
kind of fun.
We need to go on.
If you got any ideas, we'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're live from my garage while I take apart this barrel drum in the dark, practically.
Also, I didn't mention Scouts' House had their elections on Tuesday. I talked about going with Glenn. The second thing was I hung out with Scouts and their people Tuesday night at Saints. They had their elections
Okay.
for their group. Mike was elected again.
Go figure.
But they're really excited and they're really cool. And I'm glad, like, I know that I'm going to be spending just as much time with them this year as I am with the Cooper side because I'm going to just do what I did last year. And get ready to buy some new drums too. I'm going to buy some new drums. Not this check. I get paid tomorrow after that.
Nice.
What are you getting?
It's a secret. But let's just say it's going to be muy bueno. Muy bueno.
All right.
My drums are going to be bueno.
Okay.
It's going to be cool. It's going to be funky. 2 rehearsals.
2 rehearsals.
Right,
That's how you
March
win it.
14th, yeah, either March 14th or 15th at Saints. We're just waiting for the ACC and SEC schedule to come out.
The Ides of March. No,
It'll probably be
that's
early.
that's a different day.
One of those days, 14th or
Or
15th.
is it?
The one at Saints is when we clean all the dust off the rafters. For
Yeah. Yeah. And it'll probably be, don't quote us, 11 to 1.
Ish.
Ish. It's going to depend on the schedule for the tournaments. We're going to pick which ones later. And you don't know if U of L or UK is going to be in it. That'll obviously impact the amount of people that go to it,
Right,
to the
yeah.
final. So if one of them's not in the final, that'll make it a lot easier. But and then that rehearsal, if you're around, you are more than welcome to join us
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to be a good place. I talked to Scouts folks about that. If you want to learn some of the things that we do and bring them over there, then this is a great chance to do it because some of these things are going to work. I've got a new cadence I want to do. I know a couple people have already done a couple of. They've sent me a couple of things. And we'll see if they work. If they don't, then we want to do another rehearsal, hopefully the week before in the stadium because we got to get all the stuff over there anyway. So,
Cool.
man, I'm sorry, I'm talking.
We're gonna have fun.
You do that, but it's okay because it's interesting.
Thank you. I try to be. So there you go. So this will be uploaded in a little while, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll have the audio version tomorrow sometime.
Yep.
There you go. That was fun. That was fun. That was a fun fake testing.
It was.
Oh, you know what? And if you watching this for the first time, we do have a new camera. So do we look better? Do we look worse? Do we look the same? You can send it to #3B podcast, or you can just message me if you know me or something. That's all. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
You're done.
And good night, Uncle Luigi, wherever you are.
Good night, Uncle Luigi. We'll have you on soon too.
We'll see you all in about a week.
Bye.